Konnichiwa. Good day. Welcome to Wisdom of the Grandmaster. Today we are going to be discussing, you say it.
So we're going to be talking about how to apply Budo martial arts to your life, how to become a better person through using martial arts.
We need some of that in this world. We really do.
So I want to give a bit of background on Master Art, and I'm going to be sharing this video to my YouTube channel too. So for those who don't know, this is my teacher, Master Art Mason. So Master Art Mason is high-ranked master teacher in Hapkido and Kyushu Jitsu, Taekwondo. Does he have ranking in kosher? You know?
I have ranking kosher, but I don't talk about it.
That you don't talk about.
I don't talk about it mostly because it's too much whining when I do.
Yeah. So I started training with Master Art
2001?
22 years ago or something like that.
2001, I think.
So yeah, so I've had the pleasure and blessing of being his student for a long time. And now I joined him in Romania. So I wanted to pick his brain and have him talk about...
Hey, if I can talk somebody to move into Romania with me, I can move mountains. Actually, no, that's Romania is a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, it is.
And we're here for many reasons, and there's a flag over here, and it's exciting to be here doing all the things we are going to be doing. This is one of them.
So, what would you say to someone who did know too much about martial arts, or maybe they were misinformed because they watched too many movies and they were wanting to get into martial arts and wanting to know the benefits for themselves or their children in terms of how it would make them a better person?
Well, when I started, I went to pretty much every commercial school in Windsor. And there were, oddly enough, quite a few of them.
But there was, yeah.
Because I needed, I needed somebody who taught day classes, because I was on swing shift at Chrysler. And secondly, I wanted somebody who I liked teaching it. I am, by personality, I don't take orders well. Right? However, that's all you do in a martial arts, take orders. My mother used to laugh at me going, you're the most obstinate human being in the world. How are you surviving this? Because I want it. And yeah, I mean, if you ever knew anybody that worked with me at Chrysler, they will tell you exactly what a horrible employee I was. But I found the man I wanted to teach me because I liked his style, and he's very intimidating, very scary man.
Because Master Holohan was, what, 6'2", 6'3", or?
About 6'3". At that time, he was probably about 240.
He's a very big guy.
He was a big guy, but his grace and his power were astonishing. And he was the one that I chose. Now, him and I, actually, in 16 years, we never had words, which is pretty remarkable, because I left on the best of possible terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't the norm for black belt students.
No, it's usually
leaving their teacher and going out. No, quite often there's some kind of hurt feelings or relationship has ended, or it ends because that happens.
It was painful to do it. It is a little bit like a divorce in a sense, but there were no hard feelings. He fully understood my wanting to leave.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't learning anything anymore. And all I was doing was teaching and drinking way too much coffee. Way too much coffee. and I needed to keep learning. He had kind of lost interest in doing it. Now, apparently, he's back in Windsor with the dojo, which is great. Windsor needs him. That's a good thing.
Okay, so you have someone coming to you wanting to know about the philosophy, how to apply it to their life, if it will help them control their anger, or help them control their emotions, or help their kids learn to not stop being so hyper and not having any attention.
Well, the kids thing is, I've answered those questions 1,000 times. And I used to upset the educators of the public school system, not so much the Catholic school system, which always surprised me. The Catholic school system was the easy one to get along with. It was the public school system was the problem. You'd think it'd be the other way around, you really would. But children don't have learning disabilities. Teachers have teaching disabilities. Period. I've never met a kid with ADHD, and I've taught hundreds that were diagnosed that way. Actually, I can sum it up in one word for the parents: perseverance. I put my kids in. Kurt went in when he was 4.5. And he didn't really want to go in, but it wasn't like I was looking for his opinion. And that's the thing, the mistake that parents make is put your kid in. He doesn't have to want to go. Do it. It's good for him. Like, why? Where did it ever come along that a 7-year-old had an opinion? I forced my children to participate. Kurt was forced to participate till he was a 2nd-degree black belt. And the other 2 were 1st degrees. And best thing that ever happened to them. Did they not want to go sometimes? You're darn right they didn't. But not one of them has a drug problem. Not one of them has been arrested. Not one of them has ever stolen anything. They're not nutcases. Chuck Norris said the best is martial arts is the best thing you could do for your kid. And I agree. Completely. Provided you're in a good school. Now today, we have a proliferation of sport. And it's not that I'm against sport, but within reason. When we moved on to Dougal, in that facility, and my landlord, I was there about 6 months, and my landlord, in his infinite lack of wisdom, thought it'd be a really good idea to put a fight club in the same strip plaza as a martial arts school. So I was beating the street with flyers, and I found some of this guy's flyers. So here, beautiful color postcard type thing, right? So up on the top, he's got this guy getting punched in the face, and blood spurting out, and below it is teaching kids. And yet he got people to bring their kids there. No. Not a chance. When it comes to, you're going out for yourself, and I recommend that parents do it long before their kids do it. Go out and learn a martial art. Then get your kids involved. That's what I did.
It's the same to me too, actually.
Yeah, exactly. You were in Aikido for 10 years?
Yeah.
Find somebody that resonates with you, and find a style that resonates with you. I wanted to do all this kicking, so I got into a Hapkido Taekwondo hybrid. Now today, a lot of those flying kicks are showing up in my knees, but I did everything to a great extreme. But when you find somebody that resonates with you, then you've got to discipline yourself to go and do it. Quit making excuses for everything all the time.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that when I got into Aikido when I was 19, the first year I went 3 times a week. And after that, I went even more. But you had to, it was something I didn't quit. I persevered, like you talked about. And, and made Lockport rankings and was teaching for my teacher too. So.
I think the greatest thing you're looking at it as a lifestyle. I think the greatest thing, and I mentioned this to you recently. That's a good way to put things, is recently, right? Because we have no idea where we are or what time it is. Well, I know I'm in Bihor County, Romania, but yeah. Other than that, sometimes I don't know where I am.
It's daytime still.
It's daytime still. The greatest thing that Master Philip Holohan taught me, perseverance and to develop an indomitable spirit.
And it was yesterday you were watching this.
Because I was 16 years with him, and after I got to Greenbelt, which was about 6 months, I was training 3 hours a night, 4 nights a week, and then on weekends, and then that expanded to teaching on top of that. I lived there, and my kids grew up in a dojo. I can remember the little ones in the back of the room with coloring books all night. Yeah. And then, I mean, they grew up in a dojo because their mother joined with me, and she was one of the most talented female martial artists of her time. She was amazing. But it just became a way of life, and then as things went wrong in life, I can remember I was teaching out at St. Clair College, and I was teaching in a couple places, but there was illness in the family. I won't go into details, not that I care that people know about it, but it will take, this video will be 8 days long instead of 40 minutes long or whatever. But I had to take a couple of weeks off he had to cover me. He got one of the other black belts to cover me. And he called me up on my cell phone because I was one of these idiots like he was who had a cell phone in 1990. And he said, "Hey boy, what are you doing?" I said, "Not a lot, sir." He says, "Come out to school for a few minutes. I need to talk to you." I said, "Sir, on my way." So I drove out to the school. We were to Tecumseh and Jefferson in those days.
Yeah.
And I went inside, and one of the black belts came up to me. He was teaching class. The back door was open. And he said, "Mr. Holohan's outside in the van waiting for you." And I went, "Oh, okay, we're going someplace." He says, "No, he's got a case of beer." And he's looking at me like I was scum because I was going to go back there and drink beer, and he wasn't. Yeah, which was always cool. So I go back in there, and we get in the back of the truck, and we're sitting in the back of the truck, and we got bottles of Molson Export, I think it was, and either that or OV, one of the two. And we were sitting back there drinking, which is highly illegal in Ontario. Not like here, when I'm walking Gandalf and there's guys walking down the streets with beer cans in their hands, which is wonderful. By the way, I've never seen a drunk in this country walking around staggering. Not one.
You're alive.
Not one.
You don't see it.
Well, I go back to Canada, I sure do. But anyways, so we sat there, and he asked me how Kathy was doing and how Scott was doing and all of this stuff. I filled him up. He says, "I only brought you here for one reason." He says, "Life's hard. Life's very hard." "Yes, sir, it is, isn't it?" He says, "But I tell you one thing. One thing, nobody can take this away from you. What you're doing, your training, nobody can take that away from you." And I didn't get it right away, but as the years went on, I really began to understand it as it molded into truly what is a way of life. I am disciplined to a fault, probably.
Yeah.
But I get things done, and for the most part, I'm pretty happy.
And I want to add to what you were just sharing and saying, so that from my own experience training with you and your sons and training of Black Sensei, is that the longer. I want to add something that you mentioned before too, that one of the things that Master Art would say is that there's many benefits to training in martial arts, but the longer you train, the more benefits you receive. And it really is true that I started Taekwondo when I was like 13 or something like that, but Aikido 19, and later if you're in Hapkido, the longer you train, it becomes a way of life, way of living. Become mentally strong. You still face hardships. You don't become like Superman where bullets bounce off. You still face hardships in life, be it work, family, your physical health, all that's going on. But you become mentally strong where you face it, and you develop that mental toughness, indomitable spirit, perseverance, focus. You let it focus, and to I think also to have a very mindful, intentional life where you're living a life that you want to create, that you are mindful of what you're doing, and it's meaningful based upon the intention and goals that you set for yourself throughout the day, throughout the week, and that kind of thing.
Well, it makes me think of the fact that there's a lady in my existence who does not handle life well at all, and she suffers greatly because of the fact that she doesn't handle life well. And it doesn't really matter whether my suffering is no worse than anybody else's suffering. It's no easier than anybody else's suffering. We only have our own world. Somebody say, well, you can't compare your problems with somebody else's problems. No, because they're all problems. Everything is equally hard. And it's what have you developed throughout your life to deal with that?
Yeah, and I think adding to what you just said, though, is that people, when they're going through a hardship, they can fall into a tunnel vision where they're not able to see past their nose, and they think that their problem or hardship is something that only they experience, because there's a lot of life experiences that is common to all of us, falling down, scraping your knee, a friendship ending, boyfriend, girlfriend ending you, losing your job, death in the family. Those are things that are common to all of us the longer that you live. And I think that, there's that choice that you make in terms of, do I just choose to be mentally strong, spiritually, emotionally strong, and live what face this challenge and live through it? Do I choose to suffer and attach to it and think that the suffering is me, kind of thing?
Well, that's it. When we made after back in November, when we picked you guys up in Bucharest when you traveled here.
Yeah.
You would quite often ask me, you okay? Okay? And I laugh because I have to be. It's not a choice.
And it's funny because I ask out of love and respect and concern, but I know he's okay, but it's my nature to ask.
You're so cute. She's the sweetest girl in the world. She's panting like crazy. She is 3/4 Arctic white wolf, and she killed a goat on me one day. I had to buy a goat. I go there, and this beautiful girl's all covered in blood because she went after the carotid artery on the goat and got it. She's chowing down on this goat. And, Alpha. That's why we call her Alpha. And she's getting old. She's an old girl now. We go for walks together, and the old man and the old girl going for a walk together. Right, sweetheart? But they say it all the time. It doesn't matter how many times life knocks you down, it's how many times you get up. If you've done the martial arts training right, you don't realize you've been knocked down.
Yeah.
Because you aren't down very long, and that's the benefit. The focus today is so much on the physical, and the physical is only a third of it.
Yeah, and I think that I agree with what you're saying, and I think that people, like with training in keto, there's always a big focus on the philosophy and talk about how do you apply the philosophy, how do you apply a keto to your life. And one of the things that Block Science Day would talk about is being happy for no reason. Because if you're happy because you have a dog, because you have a wife, a job, a car, and when that's gone, then your happiness is gone. But if you're happy just because, then that you can't be taken away from you. Right? You know, taking that and applying it to your life and being in the moment.
I think that if I was going to start all over again, running a dojo, teaching kids, you got a gun? It's not the kids. Believe me, it isn't the kids. It's the problem. It's parents. If I was going to do it all over again, or if I was going to revamp the school system, and it really needs revamping. But I don't think anybody watching this would argue with that, except for the Ivy League people. The first thing I would teach is gratitude.
Oh yeah, gratitude and respect.
She's sitting on my foot again. In case you're looking at her and you're seeing one side of her fur is very dark, she's had a little bit of a medical problem for a while now. She has a benign tumor on the side of her neck, which is shrinking away, which is great because her immune system is beating it up. It's non-cancerous, and it's benign, but it's a little gross to look at times. It's not something that the vet in Bucharest was willing to operate on because of where it is. It's a little bit of a risky surgery, so we're doing it a different way. No chemicals, just proper food. And doing wonders too compared to when she first got here. Her energy is so good right now. Isn't it, Princess? Yeah, she's such a good girl. I'm not sure why she's clinging to me so much these past days today, but that's okay. Now she's laying on both feet.
That's a husky's way of saying you're not going anywhere. You got to stay in cover with me.
But yeah, if you're in the martial arts, rededicate yourself to it. It's all about learning. It's not. If you believe martial arts is a tournament victory, you're not going to be around very long.
Yeah, and you and I both had a share of injuries in training. I was actually thinking about this yesterday when I was sweeping the forest. Is that you think about older times, like before we were alive, like I think about like Japan, and you have like farmers that are like going about having to farm the crops, and yes, they're training in karate or something like that. But how much after they've gotten to a certain point, even maybe while they're going up to that certain point of training, how much time really are they going to be practicing karate or whatever it is, in that they have to provide for the family, get the farm crops right, and there's this push. There's been a push for the extreme physical training, but then there's a lack of focus on the mental side of martial arts. But you get to the point, because we were talking about this the other day, I was saying to you how before when you bought you and Master Kurt, Master Scott, I don't see you guys train too much. And I've come to the point myself now where my physical training is walking. It's walking my dog, it's sweeping the floors, it's how I sit and posture myself while I'm sitting. And, got something else, one thing that you learn in martial arts is how to center. But after how many years of training, want to center, shake my hand, is centering. If you would stop being so ego-based and egomaniacs and listen to our body and observe our body, your body will teach you so much because your body already knows how to move. But when the ego and the mind gets in the way and you're learning a martial arts system, you totally mess yourself up until you get to the point of making the movement natural again.
And there's and I mean, this isn't after 5 years. This is after a lot of years.
Yeah.
there's a misconception that you need to train to remain sharp. I remember in
True.
2020
Yeah, that's very true.
when I remember 2020 when I went back to Canada for that horrible period of time, and I was asked to demonstrate Chunmu Young.
And that's what, like a third or fourth degree black belt?
No, that's the red belt one.
Oh, Shibu. I'm thinking
That
of something else.
Great pattern. Love it. And I went, yeah, sure, no problem. So I went up and I did it. And Kara came over to me and she goes, you practice that a lot? And I went, I haven't done this pattern in 10 years. And she goes, and you remember it? Yeah, why wouldn't I remember it? You know, you get to that point. It's only movement. And the other thing is that there's a lot of programming that goes on in the fitness world. And one of them is that extreme fitness is good for you, and you're about to find out, if you haven't already, that it's far from good for you. Moderation is good for you. But health is an overall thing. And the other day, a couple weeks ago, I was out with Alpha and Gandalf at 3 o'clock in the morning, and Alpha was looking frisky while we were out there, so I asked her if she wanted to run. So we ran. And I was quite happy that she was running. And when we stopped running, I realized the fact that I wasn't winded. But I don't do cardio training anymore. Right? And why can I do that without cardio training? Because I'm in control of my adrenal system. Years ago, I remember one guy, and I hope if Danny McClellan sees this. Danny, leave a message. We haven't talked in decades. But Danny was in his 40s, and he won the World Games in Los Angeles, fighting 20-year-olds. And those who went to watch him compete were like, he didn't even work up a sweat fighting me. It was full contact taekwondo. Didn't even work up a sweat. Yeah, he's in control of his adrenals. No adrenaline rush, no afterwards. The body's meant to do those things. But it's the part in martial arts they want to talk about the spiritual part because it makes them look good. Did I say that? And they don't want to talk about the mental part because the mental part is the center of everything. You get to the spiritual from the mental. You get to the physical from the mental. It's not body to mind. It's mind to body, mind to spirit. And then, because we're in a physical existence, that's the nucleus, is the mind.
Thank you. I was wanting to ask you to share and explain that, because usually when you see it explained or read about it is body to mind, mind to spirit.
Yeah, and it's wrong. And it has allowed me to do certain things and be certain things in my life that I could not be if I not had that training.
Agreed.
One of which, and you've witnessed it recently, is my proclivity not to get burned because of the chi energy. Right? Now, I wouldn't walk into a frickin' inferno to test it.
Yeah.
Because once the ego becomes involved in that, then the adrenal glands change what they're doing.
Agreed.
And when I can, and it's fun. I can go off, or people think I'm going off, and I'm not the slightest bit upset. But you think I was furious. But if you took my blood pressure and my pulse rate, at that time there's been no change. It's a show, right? I am a professional. Doesn't pay very well. I'm a professional martial arts teacher, which means I am a showman because it is a personality-driven business. That's why I would have been Stone Cold. I would have been Stone Cold Steve Austin,
WWE guy.
Yeah. Stone Cold, if you're watching this, leave me a message. I want to try your beer. I can't believe I just said that. That's all I can think of. Anything else?
I think that's it, because we talk about the mind to body, mind to spirit connection, which is important.
Yeah. The mind is everything. That's why Facebook was to take your mind away from you.
Yeah, because it's all about the mind, and if you can't control your mind, which is why they've been attacking the mind so much for the last number of years.
I'll give you a good example though, because as I say, the Facebook was designed for that. Somebody will say, "Well, that's a conspiracy theory." Okay, well, first off, yes, you're right. That is a conspiracy. Because that is two or more people attempting to perform an illegal activity. So that, yes, that is correct. But it's not a theory because Facebook admitted they were doing it. Therefore, it is a conspiracy of truth. Right? But that's how much they've taken people's minds away from things, is that they cannot rationally sit back and go, wow, this is really bad. Rather than going, oh no, I'm too smart for that to happen to me. Yeah, I want to bet. Nobody is. We can all get sucked down that vortex unless you are always working on the mind. Right? And that's what the martial arts was designed to do, was to make you work on the mind. It's kind of like, and I'll bring this up as we're concluding, there is somebody in Canada who does not like me. Right? All the threats coming out of there because I'm teaching Kosho and all this stuff. I'm still waiting for the letter from that lawyer of yours, dude. You're really letting me live rent free in your head, so much so that you would actually go pay a lawyer to find out there's nothing you can do about anything I've done because I've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, and as a case and situation where
No mind.
Lack of mind, and he's let the ego take control, and it's funny because people are going to be attracted to whatever teacher they want to go to, like you mentioned, how you went to every school in Windsor to find the teacher you want to train with, so in that you would have a respect for it and you had a connection with it. And it's the same for everyone else. So if they're not drawn to study with you, no matter how good you are and what you know, they're not going to come to you. And if they are, they're going to come to you. There's enough students for everyone.
Oh, 100%. Plus. If the guys like Keith Hafner and Jeff Smith and Stephen Oliver, these guys who know how to draw people in, they're remarkable how many students they can put in. Well, even Steve Stewart too. He had his top end in around 2008. I think he had like 700 students in that dojo, and I was happy with my 300. Right, but there's always students, but everybody wants to. Well, today people want to get famous by derailing other people, which is really pathetic.
Yeah, it goes pretty much against what martial arts ethics and integrity is supposed to be about.
And that's the other thing too in the martial arts world, is you have to become bulletproof. Why don't I respond, except for the little bit I am now, to this little boy Adam's emotional outburst? Same reason I don't drink out of the toilet. His opinion is worthless to me. His thoughts are worthless to me. Quit talking, do what you're going to say, find out you can't do anything, and have a nice day.
Yeah, and that ties into one of the sayings we have, that your perception is equal to your reality and your illusion.
My perception is you're a joke, therefore my reality is that you're a joke. So go for it. Knock yourself out. And if you want to be the Kosho ruler of Canada, by all means, be that. You've got my blessing. Be that. More than welcome to Canada. I have no interest in teaching anything in Canada. I've got online students from Canada. They're great people, but I'm not going back to Canada to do anything. So, have a nice day. That was the other thing, is the great wisdom of Keith Hafner, too, when he asked us if 100 students in our dojo would change our lives. Because we were making the usual excuses for, failed, not having enough students. But if you had another 100 students in your dojo, would your life change? Well, 100%, yeah. How many people are in that city of yours? Oh, about 210,000, and you can't find 100 people? Oh, wow, what a slap in the face that was. And I went, yeah. He says, yeah, exactly. Quit your complaining and go do the job. And that's something that is missing today. I don't know if it's missing in the martial arts world. I hope it's not, but quit your complaining and go do the job.
And that makes me think about the story with your oldest son massacred when he was still teaching. And I had gone to class, and the night before I had taken my uniform out to wash it and dry it, and the wife at the time had put it back in the bag, but she put my belt back in the bag, and I didn't realize that. So I go to class and I have no black belt. So Master Kurt is looking at me, and you have to understand Master Kurt. Master Kurt is a very
Rigid, disciplinarian.
old school martial arts teacher. It doesn't matter how big you think you are, how tough you think you are. He gives you a look and he tells you to stop. It stops. But so anyway, I was explaining this to him, and he looks at me. He goes, "Philip." I'm like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Philip." I'm like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "There is no excuse." I'm like, "Yes, sir." And I've never forgotten that. There's no excuse.
Now that's a product of the 20th century. The idea that you can make excuses to change. The dog ate my homework.
You either do or you don't.
Yeah, you either did it or you didn't do it. You know, there is no there. Well, I think that was on the Karate Kid too. You know, you either do it, you don't do it. There is no try.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. That's number one.
Those are very great words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Very great words of wisdom. Anyways, we should probably cut this one off, and thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good day.
Check out the links below there, because I have no idea what's going to be in there. So have a great day. Bye for now.